All right, let's talk. How about them Cowboys, if you will? Dallas Cowboys draft. Not the sexiest draft, no explosive things. It's funny, I feel the Cowboys have a reputation of always making moves that are explosive, but really very much have not been doing that as of late. Been making more kind of subtle, smaller moves, but sometimes that's the right play. Sometimes going out and just doing some smart stuff is better than trying to get the headlines. So is that the case here? Well, let's get into it. There are some of these picks I actually love the Cowboys made. Starting off though with Tyler Guyton, who is a prospect that it depends. What are you looking for, right? That's kind of how you can talk about if you like him or not. He is someone who, listen, 6'7", 330. The athletic traits are all there. That's great, and that's why he is, I think whether you love him or hate him, certainly a worthwhile prospect. Sometimes you see these guys go a lot higher, like Evan Neal, for example. Although Neal was better in college than Guyton was, there still are some. He was still a bit of a projection. Goes way higher. Guyton has the athletic traits and is now falling to 29. I think it's a lot more willing to take a chance. I'm a lot more willing to take a chance on a guy around here. Does not have a ton of production. He just doesn't. That's the concern. That's what you look at. Is a better pass blocker than run blocker, but that's not saying a lot. His run blocking analytics were around mediocre for college offensive linemen. So, and even a lot of times his pass blocking stuff, if you exclude play actions, wasn't great either. So he's a project. He's a full project, but the Cowboys have had success drafting projects in the past. So again, I'm not. You look at the numbers and you might think, what are they seeing this guy? And then you look at him and oh, okay, you can't see past the guy because he's so big, right? And he moves well. Like the traits are there. You can't teach traits. So I'm not going to crush the pick, although I would say it's not the pick I would have made personally, but there's, every now and then I say, I don't know. This guy doesn't have the production. And then the, coach fixes a couple things with their technique and now they're a superstar. Happens all the time. But will this be this time? Remains to be seen. Marshawn Kneeland was selected, pick 56. I should set up what you're looking at on the chart. All the way to the left, that is when the player was projected to be drafted. That's when the number screwed it up. All the way to the left, that is when the player was drafted. The next number over is when they were projected to be drafted, and then the name and the position. So Kneeland was he was drafted at 56, was projected to be drafted 58. So again, they're getting guys right around when they're supposed to be drafted so far. Kneeland is someone who was in Western Michigan, so not a ton of competition he's going up against. Was great against that competition like this last year. That's good, but again, I kind of hope so if you're getting drafted in the second round. Just watching his film, I have real concern about how many of his moves will work once you're going up against much tougher competition. He is someone that is worth spending a flyer on. Certainly someone that there's risk potential, and it seems like the Cowboys are willing to take some chances and say, you know what, maybe all these picks won't work out, but we don't need all of our picks to work out. If we can hit on 2 or 3 of these, well, then we're going to end up with more value when our draft than the average team ends up getting a bunch of just okay depth pieces. Okay, fair enough, but wasn't my favorite prospect. I know my podcast co-host was actually a big fan of his though. So the tape was very good last year. It's just the competition stuff is the concerning thing. Cooper, Beebe is maybe how you say his name. I actually think this is a really great pick in my opinion. I think the Cowboys might have gotten a steal here where, he went at 73, was projected to go at 57, but you look at his metrics, again, if you look at his analytics, which I get aren't everybody's thing, he's had several years now of really good production, and he's still only 22, but each of the last 3 years he was really good. He's someone who, the reason why he fell is just he doesn't have the athleticism. That's what people are concerned about. But and I guess he's a guard as well. People don't value guards super high. But man, I think this guy's going to be a legit 10-year starting guard for them. So at pick 73, you can't tell me that's not worth pick 73. I mean, at this point, guys are taking complete flyers on certain players. Why not go out and get a guy who should just be a starting guard for them? I think guard is a position. I don't know I still don't know what the Cowboys are doing at center right now, but like guard is and maybe he plays center because again, you have Tyler Smith and Zach Martin. Maybe Tyler Smith plays tackle. They got some work that we'll see how to shift things around. I think right off the bat, I would say go out and sign a center, have Tyler Smith play tackle, have Guyton play tackle, and then have Zach Martin and have Beebe play guard. That makes the most sense for me currently looking at it. And just, both tackles can be depth guys that they had last year. I think that's fine. But, maybe you would view it differently. I don't know. But, again, Cowboys fans, I'm sure, have thought about this a lot harder than I have. But, yeah, that's kind of how I view that. Then you got the linebacker, Maurice Luafu, who's another projection guy for sure. He's someone who you watch the highlights and you're like, oh man, this guy's great. He's great coming downhill. He's a smaller guy at 6'2", 240, but like don't let that fool you. He is physical. This guy can definitely make stuff work. I wrote in my notes for this player that he needs one of those like in the video game where like at the bottom of the screen, like right here, there's like the little like map. And it shows you like where the enemies are. He needs one of those things for his just for where the ball is. He needs to know like, okay, ball is that way, because he's very much he's never seen a play action that isn't the most confusing thing in the world. Unfortunately, it's he very much commits and it works out sometimes, but that's something that he's as raw as it gets, which is why he was projected to go 157 and they got him at 87. I'm going to defend this pick a little bit though, in that again, if you can get the most out of him, he could have real starting potential. So, I don't know if they're going to have him come in and try and play right away. Maybe in specific situations where like, hey, we know it's a running play. They're trying to run out the clock. Let's throw him out there and, do that. Okay, maybe you can do that, keep him as a role player, but I think there's potential for more than just a role player with him. Next up on the list is Kalen Carson. So we have a big jump, right? They had 4 picks in the top 90, and I didn't pick again until 174. Carson is a corner out of Wake Forest who is someone who doesn't have a ton of reps compared to some other people. So while he's certainly a lot more raw compared to other players, he at least has an excuse for it. Is a good athlete, so you have that going for you. 6 feet tall, 200 pounds, solid height and weight for a corner. So again, someone you're going they trust their coaching staff. They trust their ability to coach the guys up. And if that can work, they're going to have some really good players, because Nathan Thomas is, not Nathan Thomas, Ryan Florney is another kind of similar guy in the sense of, really good athlete who also is, 6'1", 200 pounds, so kind of similar height and weight. He plays receiver, though. Doesn't quite have the footwork and the route running that you would love to see. Apparently did have a very good Senior Bowl as well, so really good athleticism and good Senior Bowl. And again, with guys like Carson and Florney, it's like if they don't hit, you got good special teamers because they have enough athleticism to play special teams. So there's added value there. At least there's one less special teams guy you have to worry about. As much as we don't pay attention to that stuff for the most part, like NFL teams do, they have to pay attention to that. They have to get those players. So those 2 guys can do that. Then you have Nathan Thomas, the offensive lineman out of Louisiana Lafayette, who is, a player where, like, I don't know. So his power is very good. He's 6'5", 330 pounds. So he's not an easy guy to get through, although I still think that NFL guys might be able to make that work. Fine depth interior offensive lineman. That's kind of how I view him personally. And then you have Justin Rogers, who is a player who was projected to go 315th, which, is more picks than there are in the NFL draft. So was projected to be undrafted, but they liked enough to draft him, I suppose. Feels like he's just a big guy to play defensive line. But again, I just feel like NFL offensive linemen are so good. Sure, you're 350 pounds. That's awesome. They'll still find ways to move you if you don't have the hands down and stuff like that. So, if he wasn't really effective in college too much. So while I understand the appeal, dude who just you can't teach size, feels like the Cowboys as a whole really trusting their ability to coach guys up here in this draft. A couple picks I really loved. Decent amount of picks I didn't love but still understand, and a couple I just that weren't for me. So yeah, as a whole, again, it's an interesting draft, a boomer bust draft. They're taking some swings. If this is the kind of mindset you like heading into the draft, you probably love this draft. If this is the kind of mindset you hate heading into the draft, you probably hate this draft. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. Of course, as always, thanks for watching.